This video will have a look at an example of how do we use simultaneous equations to help answer a word problem. So to use simultaneous equations to be able to solve a word problem, the first step is to define the variables if required. So sometimes a question will do that for you, other times you will need to define what those variables are going to be. You can use x and y, or you can use any other combination of variables you choose. Sometimes I find it easier to use x and y because that is what I'm used to using. Step 2 is to write two equations for the information in the question. Again, sometimes this will be given to you, other times you will need to develop those equations by yourself. And then step 3, after you have those two equations, go through and solve the equation simultaneously to be able to answer what the word question is asking you to answer. So let's have a look at an example of how we can use simultaneous equations to be able to solve a word problem. So in the example, Connor the fruiterer sells 2 fruit packets. In pack 1, there's 10 apples and 5 mangoes for $12. In pack 2, there's 10 apples and 4 mangoes for $14.15. And the question is asking to determine the cost of 1 apple and 5 mangoes. So the first step we need to do is go ahead and define what the variables are going to be. And I'm going to use x and y. So x is going to equal apples and y is going to equal mangoes. So after you have defined the variables, you need to use the information in the question to come up with two equations. So using pack 1 and pack 2, pack 1 has 10 apples and 5 mangoes. So 10x plus 5y equals $12, so equals 12. And then pack 2 has 15 apples and 4 mangoes. So 15x plus 4y equals $14.15. So now you can go ahead and solve the equation simultaneously to work out values of x and y. To do that, we can use the elimination method. Now to use the elimination method, we need variables with the same coefficient in both. So having a look, I've got 15x and I've got 10x. I can turn the 10x into 15x by multiplying it by 1.5. So multiplying each term by 1.5, it will become 15x plus 7.5y equals 18. So now I've got two equations I can go ahead and use the elimination method for. And because I've got two positive numbers, I want to subtract those two equations. So starting off with the left-hand side of the first equation, 15x plus 7.5y, and then subtract the left-hand side of the second equation. So subtract 15x minus 4y equals the right-hand side of the first equation, so 18 minus the right-hand side from the second equation, which is 14.15. So going ahead and removing my bracket, it is going to be 15x plus 7.5y minus 15x, and then it is going to be minus 4y is equal to 18 minus 14.15, which is 3.85. So going ahead and simplifying, and I can see that my 15x and my negative 15x will cancel each other out. So that leaves me with 3.5y is equal to 3.85. So then I can divide both sides by 3.5. So my y value, or my value of my mango, is going to equal to $1.10. So now that I've got that y value, I can go ahead and substitute it into one of my original equations. So I can substitute it into the first equation. So 10x plus 5y equals 12. So 10x plus 5 times $1.10 equals 12. So 10x plus $5.50 is equal to 12. So moving the $5.50 over the other side by subtracting it from both sides, that leaves me with 10x is equal to $6.50. Then divide both sides by 10. X is going to equal to 65 cents. So now I have determined that the value of my apples, which is X, is 65 cents. And the value of my mangoes, which was Y, is equal to $1.10. So I can use that information to go back and answer the question, which was asking us to determine the cost of 1 apple and 5 mangoes. So the cost is equal to X plus 5Y. So that is going to be 0.65 plus 5 times $1.10. So 0.65 plus $5.50, which equals $6.15. So the cost of 1 apple and 5 mangoes is $6.15. So that is an example of how you can use a set of simultaneous equations to help you to answer a word problem.